Welcome to the deep dive.
We're exploring insights from Horse and Chariot, which it's this great source blending old Christian wisdom with some very practical stuff for, today. So we're kicking things off today with this pretty powerful idea from Plutarch.
Oh, right. The one about character.
Exactly. Character is simply habit long continued. It sounds simple, but wow, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Because if character is just habit, well, then suddenly all those little everyday things become incredibly significant.
Yeah, profound even. It makes you wonder, are your habits maybe unconsciously shaping you towards virtue or maybe something else, more vicious?
That's the tough question, isn't it?
It really is. And it feels especially relevant now, I think. The world often seems so confusing. How do you even know what the good or right thing is? What habits you should be building?
Well, that's where our sources kind of converge. They seem to point towards a core idea.
Which is?
It starts with the renewing of your mind.
Okay. Renewing the mind. What does that actually mean in this context?
Well, what's fascinating is how the sources talk about the intellect. They call it the inner weaver of character.
The inner weaver. I like that.
Yeah. It's a great image, isn't it? Like your mind isn't just passively absorbing stuff. It's actively taking threads, information, thoughts, experiences, and weaving them together.
And that weave becomes you, your character.
Precisely. Carefully or maybe sometimes carelessly. So, this deep dive, what we want to do is unpack that, this whole intentional process of mental renewal, how what you let in shapes your thoughts, then your choices, and ultimately the person you become.
Okay, so it's not just about habits in isolation. It's about what's feeding those habits, what's going into the mind, the weaver.
Exactly, the raw materials, so to speak.
Right. And what happens if those materials are, well, not great? What do the sources say about that?
Yeah, they make a really clear distinction. They talk about noise versus true wisdom.
Noise, like literal noise.
It's not necessarily, more like mental clutter, the endless stream of unfiltered info, clickbait, social media feeds, just fleeting opinions everywhere, kind of like mental junk food.
Okay, mental junk food, I get that. So what's wisdom then?
Wisdom, in contrast, is presented as distilled truth, foundational stuff. Content that actually builds you up, challenges you, sharpens your thinking.
So the weaver needs good quality thread.
That's it. To create something virtuous, something strong, it needs wisdom. And it's not passive. You don't just soak it up. It's an active choice.
Choosing the inputs.
Right. Inputs that align with the character you actually want to build. It's like training a muscle, they suggest. You get stronger by lifting the right weights intentionally, not just random stuff.
Mental weightlifting. I like that. So it's about engagement, internalization, not just reading words on a page.
Exactly. Which, brings us right back to that Romans verse you mentioned earlier.
Romans 12.2.
Yeah.
Be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
That you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and pleasing and perfect.
So that transformation, how does that actually work? According to the sources, what does it look like day to day?
Well, they're clear. It's not magic. It's not passive. It's more like an intentional reprogramming.
Reprogramming your mind.
Yeah. If your mind's the weaver, you're consciously choosing only the threads of wisdom, of truth. And you're actively discarding the tangled knots of noise or distraction.
So swapping the junk food for actual nutrition.
That's a good way to put it. Replacing the noise with insight, maybe choosing deep reading over endless scrolling, seeking out what the sources call truth instead of, they bluntly call the alternative trash.
Wow, okay. Strong words.
They are. But the point is that active discernment, training yourself to recognize what's truly good and helpful in that flood of daily information.
And that idea of building something solid, it connects to another source, doesn't it? St. Vincent de Paul.
Ah, yes. The analogy. It's so powerful. He compares Christ's teaching to a building on a solid rock foundation.
Versus worldly wisdom.
Which he says is built on sand. It's clear which one lasts, right? One offers stability, resilience against life storms, against changing trends. The other, it's shifting, unstable, easily washed away.
Build on rock, not sand. Got it.
It's about knowing what truly endures.
Okay, so let's recap a bit. We've journeyed from habits forming character to seeing that the real engine behind that is the mind. And the crucial path is this intentional, active renewal of the mind, taking control of what you feed it.
Exactly. And remembering that core idea from Romans, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. It's that active reprogramming we talked about.
Swapping noise for wisdom.
Choosing truth over trash, scrolling for scripture or deep thought. It's all about building on that rock foundation St. Vincent de Paul mentioned, not the flimsy sand.
So a final thought then, maybe something for you, the listener, to chew on. If your mind really is this inner weaver of your character,
Yeah.
what's one intentional step, maybe even just a small one, you could take today to sharpen your intellect, to make sure you're consciously choosing the rock and not getting stuck building on sand?